Hi, I'm Jenny Sherbo with Jenny Sherbo Performance Horses, and today we're here to talk about round pens. So I purchased this round pen about 15 years ago because it has solid sides. You can see all of the scratch marks all over here and here from the horses that hit the solid panel. And in my experience in the past, paneled round pens that are small, that you're going to work a horse on the fence and whatnot. I've had some really bad wrecks of horses hurt their legs from going through the panels, and especially hitting the post where the panel goes to the ground right there versus a solid walled panel. The problem with the solid walled panels is, as you can see, the dirt piles up against it really bad. So right here we have dug away the dirt from the side of the round pen, and it's just a huge mountain all the way from there. And you can see the dirt line right here, and the dirt is usually right here, and we pulled it away so you could see the dirt line. The dirt line, if we pulled it all the way out, it's about a foot up the wall. So this dirt goes out to the side about a foot. So the point of this discussion is, why do we care? When the dirt goes up against the wall, it creates a bit of a ramp. And then when I lunge this horse out on that ramp, it takes the horse's shoulders angle and makes it drop in. So one of the things when we are training our horses is that we want to train them for their shoulder not to drop. And this is very contradictory to what we want to teach them right from the beginning. Another thing is a lot of young horses, like this one here, have a really hard time holding a hind lead in a small space. And part of the reason is they drop their shoulder, which then kicks their hip out. And the way that the dirt is up on this pen promotes them to drop their shoulder. It also causes tripping. You can watch and see that this colt will trip every once in a while because he's running kind of on a hill. And he has a really hard time holding his hind lead, and that's partly because he drops his shoulder because there's such a mound on the wall. So right there he's at a lead. And then he breaks down to the trot because he can't hold his lead. Out of lead again. Still out of lead. And then one of the very first things I try to do is work on cadence, which is keeping them at the same speed. And then falling out of lead consistently when they hit those ramps makes that cadence tough. Out of lead again. He's on the wrong lead and not hind end. His shoulder is dropped to the right side. You can see that his shoulder is in, and if you look at his top line, you could really tell that his shoulder is to the inside. So this is something that I'll fight on these horses. And then once I come in here and pull all this dirt off these walls every so often, then I don't find that I fight that hind lead quite as much. And I really think it's because their shoulder is able to sit up straight because they're not on that hill, which then kicks their hip out. But the other round pen that we're going to show you takes care of the problem for us. And instead of us having to manually drag this dirt, which is actually really hard because it's hard to get the tractor in here, and then you have to, my husband actually had to make a special tool to pull all that dirt off. So it takes a lot of labor, need a special tool. To be honest with you, it just doesn't get done enough. So it's not fair to these horses that we don't want to teach them to drop that shoulder. We want to teach them a cadence, and they're constantly going and breaking because they're out of lead. And we always want to give these horses the benefit of the doubt, and having a nice flat surface is going to be a whole lot better than running at an angle. But I'm going to go ahead and free lunge him just so that you can see him get caught up in the dirt mound pretty much. So he's already out of lead. He went over and hit that dirt mound. He's bouncing off the wall, up on the dirt mound, then runs off the dirt mound. Out of lead again. You hear him hitting the wall. Still out of lead, hitting the wall again. Running up the ramp right there. There, he finally changed back to his lead. Okay, so that's a prime example of what happens when you don't have him on the line and this horse fighting that dirt ramp. I'm going to go ahead and work this horse in this round pen, and what I want you guys to think about is as I lope him around, when I go to stop him to turn into the fence, this horse's back feet are actually going to spread out in that stop. And my concern is that I'm really going to watch where I stop him as far as the walls are concerned to make sure he has enough room to spread his feet and still get through the turn. This is solid walled, so this is one of those places that it takes care of, worrying about that if he spread his leg, it could go through the rail on a regular pipe fence and really hurt my horse. Again, I try to stay off the rail a little bit because that big ramp is there and I know that my horse could trip. They've done it a million times to me. So that's one reason why I do not like the solid walls. So it's good for some things and bad for others, but the other pen I'm going to show you takes care of all of this. But I'm going to go ahead and work this horse in here and then we'll go work him outside. So I could feel him as I'm loping, kind of like dropping his shoulder and running up and down the hill in the ranch. And if he was a younger horse, he could sure trip and fall down. So now I'm going to go ahead and stop him and turn him. So when I stop him, which I will do again, notice that he spreads his hind legs. Again, I can feel him kind of going up and down these hills, dropping his shoulder a little bit when it really stands at an angle. Okay, so when he goes to spread his legs in that stop, he really spreads them out. And he also steps through with that front end. And he's a really nice horse. I sure wouldn't want him to hit a front leg in a panel. Hi, welcome to Jenny Sherbo Performance Horses. We are back out here in the Built Better Livestock panels by Dan Lewis. This is a really great design of a panel that doesn't have the lower rail and also has the legs kicked to the outside instead of having them come straight to the ground. So if you look at this panel over here, most regular round pens would have a piece of pipe that comes straight down right here. And as you rode a horse around, if you went to stop, you'd really have to look out for those spots because your horse spreads their leg in the stop. But with this leg kicked back to the outside, it allows the horse to spread their legs and work in here. Also, it allows the dirt to go to the ridge to be on the outside so that the track stays level instead of being at a big rampy angle, to help keep your horse's shoulder up straight, which also helps them to hold their hind leg. So we don't have a lower panel here for a horse to get their leg caught in, and we don't have the post right here in the line for a horse to get it caught in. So here is another angle from the outside to see that not only the dirt buildup is to the outside of the pen. You can see all right here, it's all that rim that gets created in a round pen comes to the outside so that your horse isn't running on that ramp on the inside. And then here are the legs that come to the outside instead of being right where my foot is, straight down where your horse can run into it. They are angled off to the side so that when your horse steps outside the pen or goes to stop and runs their leg outside the pen, they're not going to go and run into that pipe. When a panel has a leg straight down, it is a huge safety concern for me. I think that this design right here makes these some of the safest panels out there. It does not have the lower panel for a leg to get caught in. Normally there would be another piece of pipe going right here at a lower level, and I've had lots of horses get stuck in that. This gives it good support being out to the outside. These are very strong, well-built panels, and it gets that leg that is usually right here out of the way, and away from my horse's legs so that nothing can get hurt. So as I ride around here, you can go ahead and see when a horse goes to turn through, I don't have to worry about him stepping into that lower pipe. And also when I go to stop and this horse spreads his legs in his stop, I don't have to worry about his leg going and hanging on a panel. So for the camera's purposes, I'm just going to do a circle right out here in front. And as I jog this horse around, when I come over here and I go to turn into the fence, normally I would be looking for the posts on the ground and trying to turn. Like normally I wouldn't turn here, I wouldn't turn here, I wouldn't turn here. Wherever that leg was hitting the ground, I wouldn't turn. I would aim for the middle of the panel because I wouldn't want to be where the leg was. So if I was jogging along and I wanted to make a turn, I would turn at the middle of the panel. If I was jogging along, I would aim at the middle of that panel. That was a little short. Because I would be scared if I were to stop right here that my horse could hang a leg on that pipe on the ground. So what that means is that this horse has to be on my timing instead of me being able to look for where the horse is right. With this pen, I don't have to worry about that. I can just go around there in my circle, and whenever my horse feels good, I can stop him and ask him to turn into the fence without worrying where that pipe of the fence is. So it's on the horse's timing and not my own. So I go around and I'm just feeling where my horse's stride is at and where his timing is at, and anywhere I want to, I can stop and turn into the fence. I don't have to be looking up really thinking about doing it in a safe place because this entire pen is safe. So it alleviates me having to keep myself out of a wreck because there's no wreck to be had. So this is the same colt that we lunged in the solid paneled pen, and we're going to come out here and lunge him out here. I'll lunge him on the line and also free lunge him so you can see that he won't be running into the panels like he was over there. This pen is a little bit bigger. This is a 50-foot round pen. The other one's a 40. But I've worked this pen as a 40 and it works the same. The big deal is that it doesn't have that big dirt ramp on the sides that trips him up and sends him out. Good, so you see that he's holding his correct lead. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on the video, but this horse's shoulders are staying square. Instead of, he's diving in a little bit, but that's what that other pen has taught him. It's not because he's standing in the dirt wanting to dive. And right there, he held his lead all the way. And the reason why it's easier for him to hold his lead is because he's not on that big angle. See, he's not banging into the fence. I'm not worried about him hitting a pipe. Good, so there he's staying on the correct lead. And you should have been able to see right there, and we can probably slow that down in slow motion, is that when he's loping and he's right up against the rail, how his feet sometimes almost go under the rail. His footprint, the rail comes down like this, and his footprint is half outside the rail and half in the rail. So when they get on these circles, here's a really good footprint right here. Same thing. Half inside the rail and half outside the rail. So when they're moving like this, their feet sometimes go to the outside, which is what I was talking about, the beauty of not having that leg there. Because I have had horses in the past just loping around just like he was, that go and bang a leg on the bottom, or go to stop and drag a leg into that pipe and cripple themselves, and it's just a shame. This is a brilliant design, does not have that lower part, so their leg could go to the outside and push off, and when they go to stop and spread their legs, they're not going to go get hung up. That has a perfect angle to be just far enough to be out of the way. I hope you enjoyed our segment on round penning. I hope that you will look into these panels. I really think that there's something to them. The main thing about a round pen is usually you're working young horses or problem horses, and you're building their confidence and wanting good experiences, and the last thing you want is for them to get hurt. I really think that this is a safe pen. I like the 50-foot diameter, the 60-foot for riding, of course, and the 40-foot is really good on the ground, but a 50 is right there in the middle that I feel like I could ride them in here, I could work them on the ground in here, and still get around. The way that these panels are built, not having that lower level panel and having those legs kicked to the outside makes all the difference in the world with the ground, that it doesn't have that big dirt buildup on mound on the side, and also that I don't have to worry about my horse hanging a leg in that pipe that goes all the way to the ground. So I really hope that you will get a hold of Dan Lewis and look into these pens. And if you have any further questions, you can contact me at jennysherbo.com. You can email me, text me, or give me a call, and my information will be on this video. Thank you.